Hi, friends.
293. So close to 300. Can you believe it?
I'm trying to think if I like the number 293.
I don't. That's the worst number ever.
What? I like the end of it, but I don't like the beginning.
Why would you like 3?
Well, oh my God, it's my favorite number. Speaking of which, it is almost my 33rd birthday, which is my favorite number 2 times.
Oh, so you think it's going to be lucky?
For some reason, I'm more excited about this birthday than I've been about any others.
Well, and it's like your Jesus birthday. That's when you're going to outlive Jesus.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Unless
I really do think
crucified.
There's something like, let's fingers crossed.
Right. What do you think's going to happen this year?
Well, no, I just think it's interesting. Like a lot of times, it's interesting how like sometimes stories in the Bible are kind of like metaphors for things that happen in life and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so I think like there really is something about a phase of life change when you're like in your early 30s.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just reading this book. It was actually about food, but it was talking about Pythagoras and how that he's the reason we eat 3 meals a day because he believed like in this rule of 3s and blah, blah, blah. And so that's why we eat that many times a day. And it's kind of what you're saying where numbers are really important to people and are significant. And a lot of people think that they are more important than just like a symbol. It's, math and all that. I mean, of course it's math, but like balance and blah, blah, blah.
Because if you take the number away, like I think in our mind we separate, this is going to sound super like try to follow me here, but you can try to like separate numbers from objects, but they're still almost like the same thing. Like we only think of a number as different than like anything else that we interact with physically because it like you write it and it's on a piece of paper or something, but it's still like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like, it's a symbol.
Yeah.
The same way anything else, the same way a sun is a symbol, the same way anything else is a symbol. So the same way we have relationships with symbols, and those can create different feelings and different emotions. And even like a bunch of symbols together, isn't that art? So isn't a bunch of numbers together, which are symbols, kind of art and like beautiful and artistic?
Can you believe how deep we are?
Dude!
Guys,
and
is this
it
over your
sort
head?
Of made sense. I hope.
All right, when you are moving into this 33rd birthday, that is crazy that you're getting that old, man. But
I know. When am I going to start feeling like a grown-up? And when am I going to stop saying the word grown-up?
I really wonder that. And somebody sold us a bill of goods about growing up. Because it's not a thing.
Right.
There is no moment.
Because we never... you know when I feel like I'm old? Or not old, but, relatively. But speaking. When I am driving and I see a new driver.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that child doing behind the wheel?
It seems unnatural that they would be allowed to operate a machine like that.
Oh, forget it. Please. The fact that... You know what? I'd like to just put this on the record. The fact that we allow... these people, these teens, teens at a time in their life when their brain is,
it's totally
practically malfunctioning.
Yeah. Malfunction.
We're gonna give them a tank to operate.
Tank. Right. It really is like a military tank. You are not joking.
With devices in their hands so they're basically flying it blind. I mean, please. I feel like when your adrenaline and your impulse control, when adrenaline is the highest, impulse control is the lowest.
Yeah.
That's the time we're going to let them start driving.
They handle it really well, though.
Yeah, sink or swim.
They have no choice. My sister is helping her son who is learning to drive, and they have like a student driver thing on their bumper because, you need to. And she's like, it's terrible where by the time she gets out, it really is literal white knuckling it. And
I'm never going to be able to be in the car with one of these kids.
And like, he's unfazed. He's not nervous at all. And she thinks she's going to die.
Yeah. See, they have no fear.
Yeah.
It hasn't even said, oh my God. And you know what? It's like, yeah.
When was your first accident?
Oh, knock on wood, Suze. Never.
For real?
For real.
That's
like,
maybe
knock on wood.
the most surprising thing you've ever said.
That I've never been in an accident?
Yes, because you're a very safe driver, but it's almost like you're too cautious.
Here's why. I'll tell you. No, I am a little too cautious. Like I'm not the one who's going to be jetting out. Like, yes, I understand that. And I am not driving over the speed limit. And I'm going to judge you if you do. And
it is terrible to be a passenger in her car.
This is because it's terrible because I follow all the rules. Oh, jeez. Gosh darn. Isn't that the worst? No, but I really think it's because, okay, the same way in school, my ADHD is like super bad. So I have to do all these things to go above and beyond to make sure that I could pay attention, like sit in the very front to make sure I'm like writing everything down instead of taking notes on a computer and then like answering a lot of questions. It's the same thing when I'm driving. Like in order to I almost overcompensate, so I'm like sitting up super
like
straight.
10 and
I'm
2.
like so close to the window, 10 and 2, making sure I check in my mirrors because I got to make sure that I'm doing it right. So that, and as soon as I started taking medication, I was like, damn, I am a good driver.
I mean, you're very focused.
Now I was like, didn't work. Like I was able to focus on just one thing at a time, and I felt like a Formula One, or NASCAR racer.
It is so frustrating though. If you're like me, I'm an aggressive driver, and to be in the passenger seat, I'm always like, "Go, Sarah!"
And sometimes people out there, Susie will honk your horn for you.
When I'm in the passenger seat.
Yes.
I reach over.
She's like, oh, for Pete's sake.
You know what? I have to control that, but I have a very hard time.
Oh, it's so funny though, because I don't even know. Oh my God. I think I've used my car horn one time in probably the last 4 years, like for real.
Come on.
But here's when I did it. Oh my God. I'm so embarrassed. It is so awful. The other day, it was just like 2 weeks ago, this guy wasn't moving at the light. And for a long time, I'm laying on my horn. I have my music loud. A freaking ambulance goes right through the intersection. The one time I lay on the horn, and this guy's like, shut the fuck up, lady. No. Yes, Suze. Yes. I was mortified. And there were like a bunch of people in their cars around me. I was like putting my hand up like
you didn't.
I got it. Sorry. Like that the really.
That's so great. Leave it to you. The one time you use your horn to be out of turn.
This is why I don't do it. This is why I don't. I just
That is so funny. And like you'll be like, yes, it takes me 2 hours to get home, and I'm like, it would take me an hour. For sure, because you really do go the speed limit.
Yeah, like it's a bad thing.
I mean, even the police would expect you to go 10% more.
Yeah, sometimes I push it at like 5 miles over.
Oh my God!
But only on the freeway because that makes
You're
sense.
so laid back. I can't relate.
No, it's the opposite. I'm just
all right. But let's talk about something we do love, which is. Our Fabletics leggings.
Fabulous.
Every time I put mine on now, I think about how we all of a sudden realize, like, oh, that's why they call it Fabletics.
Uh-huh. I know. I was like, oh, God, Sarah, come on.
I am literally wearing mine right now. Used
same,
our code.
actually.
Really?
Yes.
What kind are you wearing? Are you wearing the
leopard?
Yes. Very cute.
I'm always wearing these.
The Fabletics leggings. For me, I get the high-waisted because I just love high-waisted stuff, but it also like holds your tummy in, which I think is really nice when you're active. But I've become a legging person. I never was before. I was always a
even
jeans
in a previous
person.
episode, you were like, I don't do spandex, and now you're like,
well, yeah. Now I'm like,
leggings. Welcome into my life.
Well, I never understood what was so great. Now I get it.
Oh, that's it. Now you're on board.
Well, I'm like, these are comfortable, and I have legs that look cute in leggings.
Yes.
I mean, I don't have cute everything, but my legs are all right. So I'm like, let's show those babies off.
And some Fabletics.
Yes, Fabletics. So you can join. They have like VIP perks where you get 50% off regular prices. You get free shipping and all kinds of other stuff. But for me, it's just like these are affordable athletic pieces that whether you're just going to the coffee shop or, if you're at home with your kids or if you're actually going to the gym like a healthy person, then it's so great. And you can look cute and be wearing functioning clothes. And they have a special deal for you guys. Are you excited? You can get the 2 pair of leggings for only $24.
Damn,
so
that is so good.
Yeah, it's a $99 value, and so you're getting each pair for only $12 when you sign up for the VIP program. And to get that, you just go to fabletics.com/braincandy, and you can go check out all they have so many different kinds. And then I told you last time I got the lounge pants, which are super cute. They have these really cute,
those like jogger kind of
yeah,
style.
I really love those. So make sure you go to fabletics.com/braincandy to get that 2 leggings for only $24, which is the $99 value when you sign up for the VIP program. There you go. Just on the growing up thing, I did read recently about how Michelle Obama was talking about when she was interviewed by Oprah. She was saying how she hates the question that people ask kids when they say, "What are you going to be when you grow up?"
Yes.
I thought that was really helpful.
She wrote about that in her book.
Yeah. That was good to read because I always ask kids that, and I never thought about why that might be limiting or putting sort of this idea that growing up is a destination thing.
Well, and also that there's a judgment, I think, from the parents or from the person, whoever's asking the question, depending on what the kid answers.
Right.
Even if they don't realize it, body language is,
What do you think is an acceptable question that's better, though? Would you say, like, what kind of job would you like to have?
I would say even, like, what kind of things do you like to do? More of, like, what things, are fun for you.
Why do you think, though, we can't talk about the future with them?
No, I think you can. I definitely think you can. What kind of jobs would you like to have one day?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know,
Yeah.
I love hearing their answer. It's always fun.
I remember, this was one of the most, I just, remember this moment so vividly in my mind. Well, a little bit because I probably gave this answer a little bit because I'm a people pleaser. But I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and we were flying somewhere. My mom took us, me and my brothers. You know how they do that thing where they invite the kids up to meet the pilot and get those little airline wings, or at least they used to. So the plane, they're like, "Oh, come up and meet the pilot." So I come up there and he goes, "Hey, would you like to be a pilot one day?" And I was like, "No, but I'd love to be one of those ladies with the cart, like the stewardesses."
Yeah.
And my mom looked at me and was like, "Oh no, you wouldn't." Like that, something like that. And I remember I still remember that moment and she didn't mean anything by it, I'm sure. But in my heart I was like, well, but I would really like to do that. And what's wrong with wanting to do that? And what if and it makes sense because I'm in the service industry sort of still, I'm like, what can I do for you? How can I help you? What, it just looks different and we're,
Right, but she thought you were saying
that
because you thought you had to because you were a woman, maybe?
Or she was thinking you don't want that job because it's beneath
You're
you
settling.
Or it's not. Or something like that. I don't know what, but in my little kid mind, I just remember being ouch.
I really wish.
Well, I guess I can't do that.
I truly wish that we knew as parents what was going to be that thing that your kid remembers.
Right.
There's no way.
I have so many of them that are weird ones. So
yeah, that's the thing. You can't predict them either.
What stands out for you is that traumatized. I mean, I still can't get over that coin purse thing that they threw away.
I can't
happy
believe you
face
remember
coin
that.
Purse. I'm so sad about it for you.
Most of my memories with my parents are about when I could successfully make them laugh.
Oh.
My dad was really funny, and I was always really proud of myself when I could get him to actually laugh, Mm-hmm. And it was usually when I was mean.
Oh, my gosh.
So we can see that imprint over time.
That's funny.
But I was with I just got back from New York, as you know, and my mom was with us. And, I mean, it's weird how that parent-child relationship stays over time, you know.
Yeah, well, unless that there's work from the parent and from the child, it does not. It stays parent-child, but it really needs to transform into parent-adult.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is kind of adult, because when they're really the only thing keeping a parent and a child together after the age of 18 is the relationship.
Right.
There's no legal reason. There's no,
financial.
Financial. It doesn't, like, really. You can cut all ties.
Yeah.
It's just the quality of the relationship. So unless the quality of the relationship is worked on or looked at,
Yeah. Or
it won't.
If you just keep it the same,
right,
then that you just stay because of that. It's like
yes.
built in.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I always feel like a kid. Do you feel like a kid sometimes? Like you can't assert your, like, in a way in your
No,
mind,
it's
you
the
feel like-
opposite. I've always been like her parent.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I should say you fall into the same role you were in when you were a child.
Yes, exactly.
Regardless of
Age
and regardless of who's like the quote-unquote adult in the relationship,
Yeah.
doing the more responsible one. You just had responsibilities.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. But I was telling Sarah before we started recording how cold it is. I mean,
oh my God,
it's way colder now that we're not there. Actually, it got colder after we left, but I just cannot deal with. I don't know how I lived in Pittsburgh that long. It is so ungodly.
And I heard it only takes about 2 weeks before your blood kind of gets used to wherever your environment is.
And
so you're California blood now.
I know. I read an article, and I think it was The Atlantic. It was about like why we can't get used to being cold, and it does say that the only cure for that is more exposure.
Oh, that's misery.
Yeah. It takes at least 10 days of exposure before you are even a little bit comfortable with it.
Oh, hell to the no.
No, right?
Oh my God.
Well, which challenge did you do where it was cold? Didn't you do one? Or
which one?
Several?
Well, the worst one isn't the one you'd think it is. The worst was Namibia, Africa.
Oh, wow. It was freezing.
At night.
Oh, yeah.
It was fucking freezing. Oh my God. Sorry, Linda. I've already said the F word 3 times
Oh my God,
today.
Linda.
I don't know what it is.
I don't either. Are you worked up?
No, not at all. Maybe it's like
I bring out the
I don't
best in
know.
you.
Yeah. Something like that. I just got like BDE today and it comes with some curse words.
BDE.
I guess.
Well,
Anyhow.
yeah,
but yeah.
it was freezing at night.
freezing. And it's one of the foggiest places in the world.
Oh, wow. That's a fun fact.
Believe it or not, like it's so strange. You know, they were telling us, and I did not look this up, so this is just the information I got from the people who were there. But they said that there's a drought, so there's a water shortage there, but there's also the most fog anywhere in the world there, or one of the top places. So scientists are trying to figure out a way to capture the moisture from the fog and make it so it's drinkable, because they're in this weird thing where at night it becomes so cold and so foggy, but during the day it's so hot and dry, there's no freaking water.
Oh my, that's it. I'm surprised they haven't figured out how to,
solve it.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they have.
Right,
Maybe they have.
since you've been there.
It's been like 10 years since I was on there, so. Yeah, but no, that night was the coldest because we were wet, and I don't even think that the crew knew just how cold the temperatures would drop.
Yeah.
Because I was wearing a camelback or pack, or I still don't know how to say that word, and it froze on my back.
Shut up.
The water wouldn't come out of the straw. And what I was wearing, and also we had been running all day long, so you're sweaty.
Right, that's the worst combination.
You couldn't take off you wanted to keep your layers on. Like, I couldn't decide what to do. I was only wearing leggings, shorts on top of it, and just like regular, like leggings, like Under Armour, but not like cold weather Under Armour leggings.
That is not safe.
Shoes, the shoes we had were leftover shoes from when we were in the Dominican Republic, and they're like the mesh side.
Oh, yeah, you said that.
And then socks, so my feet are wet. So I got wet feet. Then I got, pants. Then I got teeny tiny shorts on top. Then like a long sleeve shirt, and then my shirt on top, and then they gave us a beanie.
Okay, that's insane.
End of clothing list. And my water is freezing on my back.
And that was just the end. That's like how you had to deal with it.
That was the worst night of my life, hands down.
Oh my
And
God.
my period started that night. And they wouldn't give me anything for it.
Wow.
That's like fucking torture. Oh my God, that's number 4 or 5.
Fourth F word. This is a
Damn.
new record here on the Brain Candy podcast.
What is the deal?
I love it.
I'm going to have to substitute.
I love Sassy Sarah.
Oh, God, she is out in full force.
When we were in New York, we had a free morning, and I had the great idea of going to see Lady Liberty. And because I have never actually done that, where you take the boat and you go see the whatever.
Yeah.
And Peg, my mom, she's like all in for any tourist crap.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, this is going to be great. It was a beautiful sunny day, but it was really cold. And you go on a boat, and it's kind of like, it's not open air, but it's not heated, the boat. And
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like got that cover
like
thing.
the ferry, and you go over.
Yes.
And by the time we got there, because it takes so long to wait in line and then get there, we probably were on that island 10 minutes. And I was like, get me the fuck off Ellis Island or whatever it is. And I kept thinking about how, because the wind was 15 miles per hour, which is really fast. And I kept thinking, like, she is a beacon of hope for millions of people. And I was like, I'll never see her the same again. I truly thought I was going to die. I started crying.
Oh, because
there was this
you're a highly sensitive person, and this is not good for you to be out and have so many senses exposed.
Well, and I kept worrying. Like, I had my son, and I thought, what do you do when you're on an island and you have to wait for the boat? It's not like you can just leave whenever you want. And there was this sense of fear, and I can only imagine, because it's similar, believe it or not, on the challenges, because you have this feeling of like, when will be the next moment be that I'm comfortable, and you don't know the answer.
And it's out of your control.
Yeah.
And so you're feeling more than just cold. You're feeling the emotions of being out of control. And you have your son with you, and you're thinking about, like, because this article that popped up on CNN was like, yes, wind chill is dangerous. Yes, it can hurt you. Like, there are dangers, like hypothermia sets in like minutes now if you're outside. So you got there's too many things going, too many emotions.
Thank you, Sarah.
Of course you were overwhelmed.
I also feel overwhelmed at how much I love Brooklyn and sheets.
Oh, well, you know what? Instead of being freezing, you can cuddle up in your cozy warm bed.
Yeah, because, I mean, who doesn't love to crawl into the perfect, luxurious sheets that we know and love that are Brooklyn and they look so cute. And they were named Best Online Bedding category by Good Housekeeping. Please, what do I have to do to get you to understand? And basically the situation is that they've cut out the middleman, and they have made these luxury sheets affordable for you. And you can mix and match patterns, which I love. And they get better the more you wash them and use them. And our Brooklyn sheets are the best ever. They're the most comfortable sheets we've ever slept on. And now it's time for your upgrade. Brooklinen.com is giving an exclusive offer just for our listeners. Get $20 off and free shipping when you use promo code BRAIN at Brooklinen.com. Brooklinen is so confident in their product that all their sheets, comforters, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. The only way to get $20 off and free shipping is to use promo code BRAIN at Brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Promo code BRAIN. Brooklinen are the best sheets ever. That was a good segue. Did you like that?
Sure was.
Thanks.
Yeah. You just visualize a warm bed, and then you'll get toastier.
I want to know what you think of Ariana Grande's tattoo debacle.
Oh my gosh. Here's one of my favorite parts is that, I think it was yesterday, I saw the article on CNN that was like, Ariana Grande gets a hand tattoo that doesn't mean what you think it does. And then this morning I wake up and look at CNN, and it's like, Ariana Grande fixes hand tattoo. And I just laughed how it was like, I was like, is this the same arc? Oh, no. That's so funny. And her response was pretty good, I gotta say.
She took it well.
She did. And then she was like, well, and also, I do like tiny grills.
Right. She loves small barbecues.
Yes, that was it. I do like tiny barbecues.
Right. I mean, so as somebody who has a tattoo from another language, I understand this problem. I mean, I happen to get it correct, but there really is, like, you really don't know unless you speak that language and read that language. And somebody wrote underneath her picture, like, it serves her right for using someone else's culture as an accessory. And I was wondering what you think of that, because I had never thought about that. I just think that some script is more beautiful than others, and that, you know, it's not necessarily appropriation. But what do you think?
That's a tough one for me, you know, because I do kind of see it and understand what they're saying. You know, I feel like...
Would you, like, if you saw somebody in an Asian country with an English word, you wouldn't think that?
It'd be weird.
But you wouldn't think it was offensive.
No. Oh, my gosh, no. I would just be like...
That's kind of stupid.
that on you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be... But I think it has something to do with making it cryptic.
Yeah.
So it's more like not wanting other people to know what it is.
Well, because, as you said earlier, it's a symbol.
Yes.
And symbols can be significant and beautiful in a way that, you know, maybe your native tongue wouldn't be.
Yes. You know, and I like, as long as there's a respect, and here's what I would not approve. And like, you know, like me approving it. Like I'm like the stamp of approval. Forget it. This is like, check your privilege, Sarah. But for whatever it's worth, if you are a racist dickhead who says like, oh, you know, whatever, and then you get a tramp stamp with a Chinese symbol or a Japanese character or whatever, I mean...
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Kick rocks.
Kick rocks! Well, I was reading about the gal who started, I think it was a couple years ago, where she was mad at Colbert and she created that cancel Colbert hashtag that started trending because Colbert's show had done a satirical tweet where they said such and such. They used the phrase "ching chong ding dong."
Oh,
but they were satirizing people that were actually being racist, and so they were talking about what happened to her after she created this hashtag and how she got death threats and. She was treated really badly. And I wondered, because I kind of thought she was in the wrong, but I'm not Asian, so what do I know? And so it was more about the pile-on that can happen when you do something online. Like, even if you think what you're doing is the right thing to do, you might end up getting death threats and all this stuff. And I don't know, it just stuck with me. And I do feel like people are starting to feel like they can't say anything right. Like, Colbert is fighting the good fight, but even she's mad at him, too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
What do you think?
Oh.
What do we know?
Yeah, man.
We're just two blonde white ladies.
Tough. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have to know more about the context and the story and what was said to, like, you know, have a side or whatever. But, you know, oh, gosh. There's a part of me that, I mean, I love making fun of white people. It's like my favorite thing to do.
I do, too, but that's what Colbert was doing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I do get that part.
Yeah.
So... You know,
I don't know. It's complicated, but
like I'm always like in the middle of my supervision. I'm always like, yeah, because the white man. And they're like,
Sarah's anti-white people.
You know what? I mean, the ones who got it wrong. I'm not anti. I just feel like there's a long way to go, people.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, with regards to Ariana Grande, do you think that she, you know, what she did was disrespectful, or just stupid? Or neither.
Just stupid. Or neither. I think it's neither.
Okay.
I say whatevs.
Yeah.
You know what I think is stupid? Oh, the Australian model who got Harry Styles tattooed on her cheek.
Sarah.
I can't Dude, Suze, I'm having a hard time sitting still in my seat. I'm squirming so much thinking about how the regret that she's going to feel in 5 minutes.
I don't
What's
know.
wrong with her?
I don't know.
No, Suze, manic pixie dream girl right there.
No.
Yes. I don't think she's mentally stable.
No, there's something wrong with her brain.
Yes.
Because that's not...
she's nuts.
Because how could she... I can understand if she got it on her body.
No.
I mean, I
insane.
wouldn't do that, but it's like, okay, I get it. But on your cheek?
No, I can't with that.
Do you think she just wanted attention?
No, I think she has... Oh, my God, no. It's not fair to, say what people have. There's, some... Well... Oh,
okay,
God.
but wait.
I think she has histrionic disorder.
What's that?
Histrionic. It's kind of like a... Let me see what the DSM definition of it so I can pull it up. It's kind of like histrionic personality disorder. Okay. It says they have good social skills despite tending to use them to manipulate others and into making them the center of attention. Their characteristics include exhibitionist behavior, constant seeking or reassurance of approval, excessive sensitivity to criticism or disapproval, pride of own personality and unwillingness to change, inappropriate seductive appearance or behavior of a sexual nature.
Oh my God, this is like everyone on the show.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. A need to be the center of attention, low tolerance for frustration or delayed gratification, rapidly shifting emotional states that may appear superficial or exaggerated to others, tendency to believe that relationships are more intimate than they actually are, making rash decisions, blaming personal failures or disappointments on others, being overly dramatic and emotional, influenced by other suggestions, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God. Do you have someone in mind when you're reading those? Because I do. Or are you just thinking about the girl with the tattoo?
I am just thinking about the girl with the tattoo.
Well, I think you're onto something, but...
that's the first thing that pops into my head.
But maybe because she's obsessed clearly with this Harry Styles, and maybe she wanted to guarantee that he saw it. Because if she put it on her back or something, it wouldn't have gone viral.
And did you see all those memes about
No.
about him making a face and being like,
oh yeah,
that's
I did the gifs,
like him, yeah.
Right. I mean, because she mustn't care if the attention is negative. Because nobody was like, "Oh, it looks so good." Nobody.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, to me,
that's really weird.
This is what I'm always saying about people that commit heinous crimes. I understand those more than I understand getting that tattoo. I really do. Oh. Because I have had moments of rage and irrational behavior. I have never thought I will ruin my face for no
God,
good reason.
I can't.
It's terrible.
I can see, I can't, but I can see it. I can totally, I think that's what, but
I mean, how long until she gets that thing taken off?
That's what I'm saying. I think it won't be that long.
It's never going to look this normal, though.
No, it won't. Never, ever, ever. Oh, I can't.
And don't you think that tattoo artist is out of line for doing it? If you were a tattoo artist, you would say, I can't do that.
Of course.
So,
but you know what it is, Suze? It's like plastic surgery.
Yeah.
It's the same. You go to a reputable person.
Yeah. They would say no.
The tattoo is shitty.
It really is.
So she went to a person who isn't good, and who, because anybody good would be like, heck no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right. So that's what happens. It's exactly the same with where the desire, the need to get it, and So here's what I think happened. Somebody suggested this to her. She somehow got this into her head. And then she started, you know how you have those intrusive thoughts that you start thinking about, and then those you start ruminating on the thought, and then the thought turns into an obsession.
Yeah.
and then you can't get it out of your head, and then it feels like something you have to do, and it doesn't matter. I think you see it more with like body dysmorphia and needing to go out and get plastic surgery. Yeah. But I would think that it is the same
category.
Yes, and the same, process of like thoughts. But okay,
I'll tell you what I can't get out of my head.
Just my opinion,
and it's my Third Love bra.
Nice comfy boobs. If you're going to be an exhibitionist, might as well show off your tatas in a nice spot.
Third Love bras are so great because they decided this novel idea that bras should actually fit people. And they created half sizes, and they have over 70 sizes. And so whatever size and shape your boobs are, the Third Love is going to fit it. They have a perfect fit quiz that you can take, Fit Finder, and you go on and you're like, here's what my boobs are all about. And they're like, we got the bra for you. And they're so comfortable. They're really high quality, and they're the only bras I wear. They have a new cotton collection, which are even more comfortable than they were before. And Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now, they are offering our listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/brain now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/brain for 15% off today. Anyway.
Yeah. Boobs.
Boobs. Okay.
That was always one of my favorite scenes from The Office. When Michael Scott, do you know what I'm talking about?
It's ringing a bell.
So Michael Scott uses the text or like keyboard type to voice thing on the Microsoft computer.
Yes.
And he's like typing it all up, but like misspells it. And then the last thing he does is just type boobs, and the computer goes, boobs. And it makes me laugh.
I love Michael.
I think about that probably once a week. Oh, God, that tickles me.
That's funny. I like that you're thinking about boobs.
Well, you know what it was is that I listened to our episode on boobs on my way home.
No, you didn't.
I think it was the one where I was hopped up on cough syrup, and holy crap, that was funny.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I am hilarious on cough syrup.
Yeah, you got silly.
Oh, man.
When I got back from New York, I immediately got sick. It was that thing where you're on a plane and then you get sick.
Oh, yeah.
I am not happy about it.
Oh, Suze, I'm so sorry.
I know, and then Lincoln got sick.
Can we expect a future episode of you hopped up on Theraflu?
I mean, that's a good point. I'm just hoping I get that husky voice that, like, Phoebe has.
You would be extra sexy with that because you have already like a nice higher pitched voice. So then you throw on that on top, and it's like feminine, raspy.
Yeah, yeah, seductive.
Yes,
that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, Sis.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I read this article, and it was actually by the Nina Shapiro who wrote the book Hype. I've had her on the show.
Oh,
yeah. But here's the thing. Okay, I think the title was, or the sort of tweet was, do butterflies cause nervousness, or does nervousness cause butterflies?
Ah, ooh. Okay. Do I get to guess?
I guess, yeah.
Yes. Okay, does nervousness cause butterflies? So...
Or do butterflies cause nervousness?
I think that something else happens first. So it is like a physiological response, but something else happens first, like another feeling, and then we assign a label to that feeling as I'm nervous, and then our body, like if we say this is nerves,
right,
our body goes into like this, what is it called? Activates like the parasympathetic nervous system, so it like shuts down any like metabolic stuff happening in the stomach. And I heard butterflies is just a changing of like blood flow or something
is that
like
what they
that
say?
to the stomach. But that's my guess.
Oh.
So
well, I don't understand any of that, but it sounds right. I mean, they were basically she was making the argument that, you remember that person, I forget who it was, the scientist or whoever, who said, like, if you see a bear,
yes.
Yeah, that thing.
Oh my God, what are their names?
And you run.
Aaron?
It's not the fear that made you run. It's the running that made you scared.
Right.
That makes no sense. Because let me tell you, if I saw a bear and didn't run, I would still be scared.
Well, okay, this is exactly what I'm saying. So
I know.
First, something is happening in our environment, and it triggers a map of a memory.
What?
So that happens first. So, like, that's what's going on. We look around and we see something. So you see a bear.
Okay.
And in your mind, your mind goes, a bear. I know what that is. A bear's super scary. A bear is something really dangerous. So it tells your body, you need to run right now.
Yeah.
And then your body runs, and the act of running because of the bear then sets off all these other, it's like a chain reaction. And then your heart rate goes up, and then the fear response becomes even more intense.
Yeah.
It's like the triggering of a panic attack, kind of. The panic attack is the end of the line, but in the very beginning is something that made the heart beat faster, that then made you attach all these other labels to that.
I would like to know what that something is, though, because to me that something is fear.
Yeah, but it's fear as it relates to a memory from the past.
Oh, okay.
Like a past relationship with it.
Okay.
So the first thing that, oh my God, this is so appropriate because of a story that I read. Oh my God, what a great segue. So this is a perfect example. And we don't know if it's true or not true.
Okay.
But this was in CNN and all over the place. This little boy gets lost in the woods. He's like playing in his backyard. And this just happened like a few days ago. He gets lost in the woods.
I read the same thing.
For 3 days.
And he said he was with a bear.
Yes. And he said, oh, I was fine. A bear kept me company. Okay.
Right.
If this little boy does not have a memory map, a map as in like a past memory or something that he's created some relationship in his mind between bears are scary or whatever, if that has not been mapped out or imprinted in his mind, then he won't have a fear response when he sees a bear. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because it is in our mind that says there's so many ways to prove this. The placebo effect proves this. People like I was just watching Adam Ruins Everything, and he was debunking MSG. And people think, oh, I eat MSG and I get a headache. Well, no, you don't. You get a headache because you think MSG causes headaches.
Right.
So if you had no memory map for the headache being linked to MSG, you wouldn't get a headache. So you wouldn't have the fear response. You wouldn't have... So he has no memory map for fear for bears, so therefore he's not scared of it. He didn't have an adrenaline response that caused a different reaction in his nervous system that made him run or made him... And then it goes in... Then you say... Then you secrete fear hormones because adrenaline... like, you know, you have like a whole adrenal response, then the bear smells those fear hormones, then the bear gets... It's like a whole thing.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. And I think that it makes more sense to me with the fear thing, but I suppose it's the same with nervousness, where you have a memory of something that made you have that feeling and then it comes back or whatever.
Yes. If you have it in your head, speaking in public would kill me.
Yeah.
I will die. And somebody even said to you, you're going to need to go get up on that stage and do some public speaking.
Yeah.
If that was your jam,
right,
you're like, yeah, cool, whatevs, let's do it.
Uh-huh.
And if you think that that's going to kill you, you will start that response the second you hear that because your mind starts remembering, but you haven't even gone up on stage yet.
Yeah. What gives me positive feelings, though, is not having to leave my desk to ship something.
I love not leaving anywhere.
I have an opposite of a fear response for that.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, Stamps.com is the ticket for making that happen because with Stamps.com, you get all the incredible services of the U.S. Postal Service right at your fingertips. So you can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, package, or class of mail using your own computer and printer. So you just print it right out, slap it on your free digital scale. It calculates the exact postage so you won't overpay. And then you put it in your mailbox, bippity-boppity-boo, they come pick it up, and you don't have to go anywhere. It's perfect. It's so convenient, it's easy, and you save money because you get little discounts, and you get that scale. So that's why we use Stamps.com. And now you can use it too. Our listeners will get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. See for yourself why over 700,000 small businesses use Stamps.com. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Brain Candy. That's Stamps.com. Enter Brain Candy.
The word plus is my favorite word to hear when you're listing off free things that I get.
Right.
Plus this, plus
Well,
this.
that's because
like,
your
ooh,
favorite
yes.
line is "Go on."
Yeah,
You
go
always
on.
want there to be more.
Right. But wait, there's more? Oh my God, forget it. I'm loving it.
When's the last time you did one of those, like, as seen on TV, impulse purchases?
Oh, I only did that one time.
What was it, a bacon maker or something?
Yeah, close. It was the one. It was the omelet maker. The like
Yeah.
the where you just crack it,
And
but
did
you
you
can make
say
other
it was
things
good
too.
or not?
No, it was terrible. It was like, you know what? No, I did use it for a while, but the punchline to that story is that I had ordered it when I was dating my girlfriend when we were together, and then we broke up, and it was like the buy one get one, and then when we broke up, 2 of them arrive, and then it came with a few weeks later, whatever, came with a cookbook called Cooking for One, and I was like, damn, how do they know?
That is so funny.
And it was like right when we broke up. I'm like, this is my life. My life is. Why is that like a sitcom?
Well,
or like a you know.
And then, do you remember when you got rid of it, when it didn't spark joy anymore?
Yeah, I gave it to a Goodwill when I moved to an apartment with
Someone else.
Yeah, I moved into a different apartment. Yeah, with more roommates. There were 3 roommates, and it used to be just me.
Add up
So I had to
how
get
many
rid of some
people
kitchen
have
stuff.
you lived with, not including real world?
Yeah. Oh, good question. Okay, you think of yours too.
Okay.
So I lived with the first people I moved in with. Yeah, I moved. Oh my God, this was funny. I moved to San Francisco, and I was really young. I was like 17, maybe 17, and the ad was on Craigslist, and it said, "Artists and dancer looking for creative type to live with their, blah, blah, blah." It was a great place right across the street from the beach in the outer sunset of San Francisco. And then I find out that the dancer, I'm thinking like ballet.
Yeah. Oh.
I did not know she meant exotic.
Right.
And she was she did a whole
Nothing
bunch
wrong
of
with
stuff
that.
like that. Yeah, nothing. But I learned, yes. And then that year I marched in the parade in San Francisco for sex workers' rights. With her,
Cool.
proudly. Yeah. Anyways, so, okay, 1, 2, 3,
Your roommates
4,
are very
5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Oh my God.
10.
This is crazy.
10, I think 10. Oh, nope, 11.
Oh my God.
I think somewhere between 11 and 13. I'm sure there's like
I
2
cannot
missing
believe you've
somewhere
lived
in
with that many people and none of them are me.
there. Oh, well, you know what? None of them were really friends.
Right.
I think that was by design.
Yeah, that's
because
smart.
I did not. I'm a lone wolf at home. Like I wanted
Wolf.
I'm like an introvert at home and really enjoy. Well, you know what it was is these first roommates I had. When I decided to move out, their biggest complaint about me
Right.
was that I kept to myself.
Yeah,
too much.
that's stupid. I don't get people that don't
I was
like that.
What the heck? Your biggest complaint is that I leave you alone.
Yeah, that to me is insane. Of course.
That's exactly the
ideal.
qualities I'm looking for in a roommate.
Right.
So we had different ideas of what we wanted in a roommate. So,
Wow.
yeah. So then, and I lived with mostly dudes. So that was it.
Oh, that's smart.
Actually, yeah. Most of the time it was all guys and lesbians. So that's it.
Have you ever lived with a straight woman besides the dancer? I assume she
once.
was straight.
No, actually, she was
Oh, she
lesbian
was.
too. Uh-huh.
Was she at is there such thing as a lesbian strip club or?
No, she was straight.
Oh,
At a
okay.
straight
And
one.
do you think that changed her view of men, made it worse?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
I do. Yes, I do.
What did she
I
say
really do.
about it?
Because she was like a dominatrix too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think she enjoyed.
Wow,
the-
that is. I would love to talk to her.
Yeah, she probably would talk to you.
Because, so
She's also my.
Did she tell them that she
Player
was a
weed for
les?
a
I'm
while.
sure she didn't.
No, she didn't. I think that would. I don't.
my
Yeah,
God.
she has probably a whole persona. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that cannot be a flattering picture of men to work in a club.
No.
Right.
And I think she did like home out calls or I don't know what
house
you call
calls.
them, like house, like sort of. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Well, good for her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Your
Yeah,
total
girl.
is a lot higher than mine.
Yeah. What's yours?
Well, I had my first husband. And then when I got a divorce, I lived with my lesbians, Kelly and Heather. And then my second husband.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I almost forgot about the lesbians because
Well-
that was just a few months.
You just have long-term relationships with.
Yeah, I just
like,
marry
not
a
with
lot
the
of
person,
people.
but I mean, yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
I lived
man,
at home
that's-
until I got married.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I know, it's weird. That's what I'm talking about with my mom, about, you know, how I was, because I felt like I had to take care of her, you know?
Oh my God, that's even harder.
Yeah.
Well, and that prolongs the launching of the child.
I'll say. And so my
Because
only
if
time
you're in
away
that
was on
same
the
environment-
challenges and
Oh my gosh! So of course you went.
so of course you went.
Well, that's what I think about a lot of these people who
Yes.
come on the challenge. It's like one or two things. Either you're in a position where, wow, lucky you have a family that financially bankrolls your life and you can afford to just drop everything and leave your responsibilities for 3 to 4 months. Or you're in a situation where you don't have any support and you really are in a place where you could drop anything because there isn't a lot that you have. There isn't a real
100%.
scaffolding or foundation, and you need this so bad. So it really creates two groups who are, one is like seeking attention and used to getting everything handed to them on a silver platter, and the other one who's desperately trying anything to hold on to what they got and will go to desperate attempts to try to work their way up this like social hierarchy.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because you'd think, given that my first show was 21 years ago, you would think that I would have already,
Wow, 21 years
yeah,
ago.
my season could drink now.
Oh,
It's 21 years
okay.
old. But like,
I was on season 21 of The
Wow.
Real World, so that is insane that it was 21 years
yeah.
ago.
And you'd think then that had given me enough time to sort of figure it all out and work through all the crap, or good and bad, that comes with that. I still learn stuff almost every day about the people that go on, the situation with reality TV, the way that it impacted my life. All of these things I still am working through, and
Of course.
it's weird. Like, it's partially because I'm still connected with you and other people, and it's still part of my life. And I now have the podcast network, and a lot of the people that we have on our network have been on shows as well. So I probably think about it more than your average bear, but I don't know. I'm still like baffled by a lot of it and what you're describing, like the people that do it and why they go back. And there's a lot to it.
There is.
There's also a lot.
That's why I think it does
Go ahead.
need to be studied.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm depending on you to sort it all out.
I'm going to. I think I'm going to do us proud, I hope, and keep this ball rolling.
So
in the
you don't
research
feel
department.
like you want to keep it out of your life. You actually want to delve into it.
No, I want to like study it from like an academic perspective.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm going to pursue a PhD
Yeah.
or a PsyD, it would be in the effects of reality television on mental health.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert.
I know. It writes itself.
It really does.
So, easy A.
Right. That won't take long to.
Right. Right.
Another thing that doesn't take long is cooking HelloFresh meals, because
Ooh,
the hard work's
yes.
already done for you.
Dude, I had the best burgers the other
Wait,
night.
I think I had them too.
Oh my God, Suze, with the caramelized onions.
Yes.
Okay. I came home and the house, it smelled like that. Oh, dude, that's by far my favorite one I've made.
I think they were called like
And by
cheesy.
made, I mean my husband made it.
And then did you get the quesadillas?
Oh, they're in my refrigerator.
We
I'm
had
having them
those
tonight.
last night. They were so good and so easy.
Oh,
And that's
pineapple
the thing.
chicken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that not only are they tasty, but these are super easy to make. And for us, like by the end of the day, we're like, we do not want to be dealing with finding the all the stuff that you have to do to prep.
Samesies.
And this is so much easier. They just send you the packet and tell you what to do. And then you still have a home cooked meal, but without the chore of all the shopping and prep and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then I love
Pre-portioned
how you
everything.
could then take the recipe and use it on your own. Like, you know.
Yes, we always save them. Now we have a book. I'm one step away from 3-hole punching them, and because I have the binder already, I just have to hole punch them.
And they're so affordable. So it's less than $10 per serving and free shipping. And to me, that's such a great deal, especially if you're a busy person, you can't be bothered. And for a total of $60 off, you can get, it's $20 off your first 3 boxes. Just visit HelloFresh.com/BrainCandy60 and enter BrainCandy60 at checkout. So you're going to get that $60 off, $20 off the first 3 boxes when you visit HelloFresh.com/BrainCandy60 using promo code BrainCandy60. It's so great. You should definitely try it. You know, I mentioned earlier that I had read a book and the book talked about Pythagoras and all this stuff. Well, I've interviewed the author and now he's going to share more about it. And we're going to have him on right now. His name is Martin Cohen, and the book is called, you're going to love this, I Think, Therefore I Eat. The World's Greatest Minds Tackle the Food Question. And he's
delicious.
a philosopher, and he studies philosophy, and he goes back and looks at what all the big thinkers had to say about food.
Oh,
It
cool.
is so awesome. I mean,
Because I think we need to listen to food and sleep.
right? Because
That's right.
we've been dealing with
Oh my
this
God,
for
cool.
so long. These questions of like, what does my body want and need? And like, sometimes they have cuckoo crazy ideas. Like this one guy thought that, oh gosh, there were so many silly ones. Let me try to remember.
Oh, tell me.
Where
Oh
they
my
would
God,
be
I
like,
love this stuff.
They'd be like, you have to eat a bucket of honey, or you know, like
Right. Oh my God, it's so weird that you said honey because that was like in my brain.
really? Maybe because we were
Yes,
talking
that
about
was
bears.
so weird. Maybe. Oh my God, that was so
But
weird.
then he does a really good job of kind of breaking it down and saying, what can we glean from this that is helpful today? Because he tackles paleo and, you know, like, is that
Yes.
a good method or is it sort of, you know, a gimmick? The gluten-free stuff. But then it's also just fun to see, like, what did Plato have to say about what we should be eating? And, you know, it just goes through meat and berries and wine and all that stuff. And it was a fun read, but it also got me thinking about food. And in the end, I think the lesson is like, everybody's different and every body needs different things. It's not like one size fits all. And what works
So we
for
were just saying
you,
past episode.
yeah, like what works for you might not work for somebody else, and like kind of use your common sense. Like it really does distill it down to like use your noggin.
I love it.
But anyway, it's really fun, and he is a very fancy British man that I really was enjoying just talking to him because it sounds so fun. But you should check out his book, I Think, Therefore I Eat. The World's Greatest Minds Tackle the Food Question by Martin Cohen. Let's welcome Martin to the show. All right, Martin, thank you so much for coming on the Brain Candy podcast. I love your book. Congratulations on it.
Well, thanks so much, Susie.
How's it feel now that it's out in the world and people are reading it and consuming it?
Well, it's obviously good to do that, but I would like more people to be reading it. Partly because at the moment there's a huge interest in food issues. There's a thing being rolled out which calls itself the Eat Lancet Commission, and it's supposing everyone should change what they eat in a very radical way. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, what is the scoop on that?
Well, it's a mixture of people. Some of them are in America, but some of them are in England. But the secret about them is they're actually mostly vegans. I'm actually sympathetic to vegetarianism. I'm not quite so sympathetic to veganism. But when you've got a very strong opinion on food, if you've taken someone to a restaurant who's a vegan, you'll know it's not necessarily great fun. And their recipe, which they're hiding a little bit, but their recipe is incredible. They want people to eat lentils. And I don't actually like eating lentils.
What's their argument? What is the reason why they're so into lentils?
Well, they say that lentils have less impact on the environment. They're actually pushing a kind of very big agro, as the phrase is, kind of model where you grow certain crops which are then made by high-tech companies into new kinds of foods, because there's a lot of these sort of fake meats being talked about now, and there's actually some very rich people, billionaires, who have got food interests, and they're just looking at how to make the market shift in their direction, and it's quite sinister and disgraceful. And the media generally are totally uncritical. They are lapping it up.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that they just don't know enough about it, or what do you think the reason is that they're not critical?
Well, I'm not allowed to say it, but I think it's a little bit like the global warming thing. It's a very complex issue.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of money to be made by going along with it. So on the food thing, I see people writing. I mean, they're well-meaning, but when you actually look at the details of the proposals and you see will result in a transfer of money away from the very poorest people in the world. The whole world is some of these farmers who rely on cows and things.
Yes.
And then you've got these very rich people with their biotech industries and their odd, glamorous foods, all of which have been flown in, actually. This is the irony of it.
Gosh.
The fashionable foods have often been flown in from abroad, from some...
Wow. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
I've noticed, though, even at trendier restaurants and things, they'll try the sort of sustainable food options in terms of protein, like crickets even. Have you noticed this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did talk about that briefly in my book.
Yeah.
I looked at crickets and insect diets, and the UN is behind a lot of these proposals, and it's a grand organisation, and I get very sceptical about the UN. It often has half-baked ideas that serve special interests. The talk about insect food being the solution to humanity's problems, it doesn't add up, because there are a lot of insects, but there's actually very little food on them. If you try to live off the insects in your house, you would soon get very hungry.
Yeah, it doesn't seem worth the effort, that's for sure.
It's sort of back to front, isn't it? I mean, we
Right, it doesn't appeal to me, that's for sure. That's not my cup of tea. I was wondering, I found your book to be so... It felt so clever. It was such a great way to talk about something that, of course, there's a lot of books about food. There's a lot of books about diets and all sorts of that topic. But I was so impressed with the way that you approached it. But I didn't know how you came up with this idea. Where did it come from?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about how much talk there is about food. And of course, I was advised that if I did write a book on food, I could be part of this huge conversation. It's actually very difficult because there are so many people talking. But at the same time, what got me going as a philosopher, my background being philosophy and social science as well, was all the contradictions.
Yes.
The bad arguments, which you see everywhere. And it drives you mad after a while, all the bad arguments. They're based partly on cherry-picked reading of evidence, and partly on not having read any evidence, which of course is not wasteful. For example, the fact is, what got me really going was you look at the history of food advice from the governments, like the US agencies who advised people that they had to cut down on fatty foods, if you will remember all that.
Yes.
It's such a big issue, and the advice was pushed for decades.
Yes.
And probably killed a lot of people because it was such bad advice. We're talking about something that actually kills people down the line.
Yes.
And they weren't really very apologetic. They eventually said, oh, actually, it's all wrong. And they just moved on to the next topic.
But how did they get away with that is what I don't get, because it seemed, I don't even really understand how that came about. Was it that the science was incomplete, or was it just that there was a way for them to make money on these low fat? I don't know. What was it?
Yeah. No, but this is really what I found interesting, Susie, was looking at the how. How did it happen?
Yeah.
And it seems that it was more to do with the sociology of it than anything else. That you've got a small group, maybe only one or two people. In this case, in America, there was a person who managed to become the sort of official spokesman on health issues, managed to edit the report. The same with the global warming. You get people who put themselves in a position and they write the reports. Then the reports get circulated all around. But the thing is that once you've got an official report, a lot of people will go along with it and they will repeat it.
Yes.
And what the social scientists call that is they call it cascade theory, after the waterfalls. And the thing is, you've got just a few people, maybe even just one person, but if they can start that cascade, soon you've got the things where it says, all right, 5,000 experts in food say you must stop doing this. Mm-hmm. All the doctors and advisory bodies will then say, well, look, all the scientists and all these experts have said this. We also support that position. And it's this sort of consensus grows up out of nothing. So I think that the people are not actually necessarily motivated by money. It can just be they've got a strong opinion. This is where vegans come in. You see, they're people with strong opinions.
Yes.
And yet, when they start on an opinion, and it's also this theory of tipping points, which is a great metaphor, but you can suddenly get everyone following a certain message, and it can take decades for that to sort of cancel itself out simply by being the wrong message and having catastrophic consequences. And that's a tragedy. But we do as a society tend to follow rather than think independently. And that's why it's a philosophical issue for me.
Well, and it seems to me that this isn't a problem that's going to be going away, considering that the digital age has created a demand for content, even if it's not reliable or truthful or accurate. And so these things tend to be spread even more, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, that's right. They talk about things going viral on the internet.
Yes.
And that metaphor, again, virus is from medicine, but it is actually what happened before the internet age. You had certain things. I said a report could do it, but you have a certain idea, and it's repeated by a few people, but each of those repeat it to a few more people, and it can just by geometrical multiplication become an overwhelming consensus around something. The internet is particularly dangerous because there's no one necessarily filtering.
Right. There's no curator.
Yeah.
So
I'm really disappointed about the mainstream press. I saw it today. I shouldn't probably say it because they'll be annoyed with me. But I saw it the Guardian, who I have written for 20 years on and off. They have someone who they call their special food reporter.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she knows a lot about food. I'm sure she does. But she weighed in on this issue about things like whether cows are causing global warming. There's hardly anyone thinks cows are causing global warming. The man who started a lot of the global warming alarm, Michael Mann, so one of the leading voices for saying we must all be changing our habits to stop global warming, he said very firmly just a week ago, he said, I don't see the dairy, the livestock issue as relevant to stopping global warming. Here you are, you've got a paper on the front page with a special food correspondent insisting that, sure enough, cows and cattle and cheese, dairy, eggs, all these old foods have to be cut back in order to, as they put it, to save the planet. And that's a very grand claim for something. And they're only, we've all got to be a little bit modest when we talk about these things, but the general media have become I suppose they're competing with the internet. They become very rhetorical and they dash things off, and they're not grounding them. New York Times is probably the last paper that still checks its facts.
Well, and it causes a dilemma for your average consumer, because I think people generally want to do what's right in terms of their body. They don't want to die or get sick, but they get conflicting advice, and things change over time. And I think sometimes it does make people want to give up and just do whatever they want. So what is your advice to those people?
Well, first of all, it's very surprising how people will take advice from anyone who has a certificate, and that's
well, and you sound extra fancy to us Americans too, so we're inclined to listen to you.
Yeah, that's very good. But unfortunately, no, it goes back to the 19th century, and there was a debate about homeopathy. And of course, homeopathy is often linked to things like not believing in global warming. It's considered a quack, illogical thing. But the man who started the whole homeopathic movement was talking really about don't do the things that doctors are advising you, because in his day, the things that were being advised by mainstream doctors were awful. I mean, they included taking very toxic chemicals in large doses. And people did it, though. They would see a doctor would say, right, literally, they would say, have a grain of arsenic every day. And they would take it.
No.
And they would. And his point was, just because someone's got a certificate, you can't necessarily believe them.
Yeah.
And the principle I'm offering, Samuel Hahnemann is the man, the principle I have is take these little pills because they have nothing in them, which they don't. They are incapable of causing you any harm. They may or may not cure you, but they won't actually make you worse. So the homeopathic thing was a response to the extremes of science claiming it knew about things when it didn't. And funnily enough, it's been reversed now, and homeopathy's become synonymous with sort of being a fake thing and a cheat. But I think when you look at the history of it, it's a very humane and a very wise approach, even if actually it doesn't cure anything. It never really claimed to be a cure.
It's just, you see it as something that can be helpful.
Yeah, it has. In fact, the homeopathic treatments are widely used in poorer countries.
Yeah.
And they're partly used because the drugs are too expensive.
Yeah.
So rather than tell people we're not giving you any treatment, you're given a homeopathic treatment. And statistically, homeopathic treatments cure a certain number of people. And that may be what's called the placebo effect, which is just that any old thing, if people think it's a treatment, helps them. But there's no harm in that, it seems to me.
Yeah. I know. We talk about this a lot on this show. My co-host is getting her master's in psychotherapy, and we talk a lot about the studies and the placebo effect. And I mean, sometimes it works, and whether it's, just sort of psychosomatic, whatever, who cares?
The scientists hate it. Yeah. They shouldn't hate it. We should embrace it.
I think it can feel overwhelming for people to sift through what is reliable or effective and what isn't. And whenever I imagine this book took a lot of research and a lot of work. And I was wondering if along the way you changed your mind about anything.
Well, yes, it was as a slightly pompous phrase, but it was a journey of exploration for me. I started off with just the sort of the little hook of a controversy. It was really the sugar controversy that got me going, actually. People saying that sugar was so evil, partly because that linked with an ethical dilemma that I raised many, many years ago. I raised the possibility of governments banning sugary products from children, putting taxes on them, having big adverts warning about them. And I did that just as an example of how governments might overreach and how we wouldn't approve it. It was supposed to be an absurd absurd picture I was painting, all of those things have become very normal now. That is where we are. You've got governments saying that there must be sugar taxes, that they've got to stop the children having certain things. And so from the sort of a practical example like sugar, I then got to looking at the fats, and then you get to things like the oil, canola oil. And I didn't know a thing about canola oil before I started the book, but when you look into it, you're horrified. Yeah. A thing that used to be considered a poison is ground up and crushed with an awful chemical called hexane, and then it's bleached, and it's all these things, and then it's described as the second most healthy oil that there is after olive oil, which is ludicrous. Mm-hmm. But people accept it, and it is, in fact, this is, I believe, the most widely consumed oil now.
Wow. Why is that? Is it affordable? Yeah,
it's cheap because it's rubbish, you see. It's very profitable. It's made from a variety of rapeseed oil. And the thing is that most people don't actually know we're getting it. You're getting it in processed foods. And in restaurants they use it. As you say, it's a little bit cheaper than a proper oil. Mm-hmm. And it comes now with this claim that it's a very healthy oil, which is claimed developed by biochemists, which, as Michael Pollan, the food writer, has rightly pointed out, they have successfully turned up food debates into a form of biochemistry, which baffles everyone, including me. But it's not. It's clearly not the way to look at food. How it relates to the body. That's what my book showed me. It's very, very complex, and in fact, it may be impossible to say. That's partly why some people have allergies, other people don't have allergies. You can't really make hard and fast statements about how a food will affect people.
I was surprised to see these folks from a long, long time ago. Some of them had unusual advice, but a lot of their advice I felt like was very wise and surprisingly still applicable. I was surprised to see Pythagoras in there and the rule of 3 and the 3 meals per day. Can you talk about that?
Right. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, no, this is a slightly parallel issue, but when I do mainstream philosophy, people tend to talk about contemporary philosophy and Plato and Aristotle. And behind all of that are these rather odd figures like Pythagoras, who lived 3,000 years ago. And we hardly ever talk about people who lived that long ago. But they had such extraordinary ideas and they had incredible influence. So it's sometimes said that the whole of modern philosophy actually comes from Plato. But all of Plato's ideas are there in Pythagoras, who seems to have been like almost a sort of a guru with his own religious sect. And part of his guru activities were they had a very special diet, which, as you mentioned, I describe in the book. And it was a very nice diet. Aesthetically, it was sort of gathering the fruits and nuts from the forest. And the whole point about them was they were against any cruelty. They said you couldn't have a healthy food if it involved cruelty. And I agree with that. But that doesn't mean that you can't to me, that doesn't mean that you can't have killing animals, because it seems very controversial. But if you have a natural world, it depends on a certain amount of death, so that we have a cycle. And the objection to modern farming, to me, going back to that, is that not that you kill the animal, but you don't give it a decent life. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Pythagoras was definitely nothing got killed, but you gathered food, and that was one of his very influential thoughts. But another one was about everything has a mathematical harmony, and this is really fed into all our ideas about the universe and modern physics and also chemistry. these mathematical relationships, he was one of the first people to realize that they really underlie reality. And so, extraordinary figure, and almost completely ignored by contemporary philosophy.
It's funny, though, because what is the deal with him and beans? Martin, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, so there's this famous saying that if you're going to be one of his followers, you must not have any beans. And the thing is, it seems to come from a 20th century popularizer, Bertrand Russell, who wrote one of the many great books on philosophy. But in one of them, he was mocking Pythagoras, and he was mocking this statement that you shouldn't eat beans. It seems really that when Pythagoras referred to don't have any beans, he didn't actually literally say that. Often this is all written in ancient Greek, as you can imagine. What he said was, do not use beans, meaning gambling, because beans were used as a way of gambling in ancient times. So, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, this whole thing, but it's gone on. People hardly anyone is aware of the truth about it, if you like, the correction, and they are aware of the myth. And often the myths run ahead of true stories.
Right.
Often the myths are more fun.
That's exactly right. The myth is more fun. The gambling thing, okay, but beans being evil, that's cute. Tell me what your thoughts are on paleo.
Yeah, so paleo, and that's one of the things that I hadn't looked at until I wrote the book.
It's all the rage, though, right? It's all the rage, though. Everyone's talking about it.
That's right. But at the time, partly because I was coming from Europe, you see, partly because of that, I hadn't really noticed that the whole movement on paleo. And it links to what I'm saying, funny enough. It links a bit to the Eat Lancet vegan proposal, because in a way it's the opposite.
Yes.
Effect and counter effect there. The paleo diet, I was actually a little bit harsh on it in the book, but that's the philosophical side, you see, because I objected to the claim that there was a standard diet that we all used to have, and that therefore we need to get it back again. That's a position which is sometimes called the naturalistic fallacy, the idea that what's natural is what's right. So I was objecting to that. Secondly, it clearly wasn't true, because really the world is very diverse, and you had some communities, many communities that lived near water, near the sea, and the reason they did that was they fished. Then the other kind of community, which you might still have in places like the Amazon, were gathering the fruits of the forest. And the picture that's painted in the paleo diet is of sort of male-dominated as well. Hunters killing oxen or something, bison and oxen. That would be very difficult in the Stone Age, because remember, all you've got is stones. That's by definition. You probably got sticks if we're generous, but the idea that you can get these wild animals and kill them would be very difficult, but how you would actually eat them would be difficult as well. So it's a little bit of a bogus picture that's painted to justify the diet, and they should have justified the diet without the bogus picture.
Well, like we just said, though, people love a bogus picture, so it probably was helpful in spreading the message, for better or worse, I suppose.
Yeah, and elements in the paleo diet are quite good. The other one that's they rules out is grains. As you'll know, they say no breads. Sort of the idea is that in the Stone Age you didn't have people planting crops, and that is true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there weren't grains or those kinds of foods. And in fact, I didn't know it until I looked into it. But in fact, there are archaeological digs where they've found evidence of Stone Age people eating grains, but they're wild ones, you see. There were small amounts of them. And even if people had hardly any grain, it doesn't really mean that it's bad for you, which could bring us to the gluten debate. I don't know if you...
Yeah, what's the scoop? What do you think?
Yeah, so the fascinating thing is that some very high proportion of people are gluten intolerant, I forget what the figure is. It might be like 15%. That's people who think they're gluten intolerant, and then the real figure of who's gluten intolerant is only like 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah.
So you've got some of my relatives say they're gluten intolerant.
What do you say to them?
You just have to smile, don't you? And say, "Oh yes, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have bread." Yeah.
Right, more bread for me then.
Yeah. Again, it's an example of what we started talking about. It was how ideas spread.
Yeah.
And it is irrational. And to some extent, I think rationality isn't everything, but it's a sort of guide, guide rope or whatever. If you leave it too far behind, it becomes dangerous.
Whenever you completed your book, and I know it's not a monolith, obviously there's all different people that you explore their ideas, but what do you think they would think of us now?
What, the ancient philosophers?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think, as you say, there's a lot of quite sensible and reassuring stuff, and it's people saying, give up all the fancy foods, just have brown bread and a piece of cheese, and it's nice to hear, and it's amazing that people are saying this, for so long ago, in periods we think where people are going to be very different, they say things which are very, very much like someone might say to you today. Rousseau's another one who has this touch that he talks about the pleasure of a picnic, and Rousseau is a 18th century French philosopher, a very grand figure, but he just says, what I don't like a fancy meal. I like to, with my loved one, he was a great lover, I like to just sit on the window ledge, look out over the town and have a bottle of wine and a sandwich. And it's nice that people talk like that.
Yes.
But I've slightly forgotten where we started, I'm afraid.
Oh, I just wondered what they would think of us now.
Yeah. So I think that most of the philosophers would think we've lost our way, rather, on food issues. Because after all, we have become remote from food. It's all strange.
Yes.
We don't know how they were made.
Yeah.
If we did know, we might not like it. We're not really cooking much. So we've sort of lost the control over what we're doing.
Yeah.
If we go out to a restaurant or a bar or a fast food thing, again, we're eating stuff which we don't really know what it is. And for the vast majority of the philosophers, they do seem to say, let's get back in more direct contact with food because it's so basic to us. Mm-hmm. But however, there is the one person in the book who I mentioned who goes completely opposite way, which is Jean-Paul Sartre. And he says, no, on the contrary, it's when we change food that we put our human stamp on it. And he says, for example, you could have peaches, which you have from a tree or something, a real peach, or you can have it in a tin where it's been peeled and sliced and it's in a syrupy sauce. Mm-hmm. And he said, I much rather have the tinned peach.
Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And it's good that philosophy does contain this sort of two sides tugging away to try and get at the truth. There's something in this business of direct contact with your food. So if you grow your own things on a little patch of land, or if you've only got a window box where you can have window herbs, there's something quite reassuring about that. And then again, there's also something is something important in this thing about you go to the cupboard and you get a tin out.
True, right?
Very quick. And it saves you, it is an achievement to be able to get food like that. That is a human achievement. We shouldn't just write it off and say, like the paleo people would say, no, a Stone Age man didn't have tins. No, he didn't have tins, but doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yes.
To use food.
Yes. I really like that about your book too, because it didn't feel like a prescription, a one size fits all type of lesson. It was broader, and I found it to be very helpful. But we ask everybody one last thing, if you'll indulge me. which is, what do you keep in the trunk of your car if you have a car?
What, food-wise?
They could be, but no, just in general.
Oh.
I know. We think of it as indicative of where you are in your life. It tells a lot about you, so that's why we ask.
Well, but it's a funny question to me. I would say, in a way, I keep a map.
Okay.
And that might sound a boring thing to reply, but after all, a map is the kind of thing that I try and do in a book like my food book. It is a kind of map guide to all the food issues. Now, you say I'm not really saying do this or do that. I'm saying, look, there's this here and there's that there.
Oh, I love that. You know what is crazy? Nobody has ever said a map, ever. So you think it's boring, but it's actually uniquely you in this case.
Yeah.
I love that. And it is indicative of where you are in your life. I love it so much. Well, I hope everybody reads I Think, Therefore I Eat. It's a wonderful book. It is fascinating and fun and helpful. And so we'll spread the word and make sure all of our listeners get a copy.
Thank you very much, Susie. And it's really nice to have a talk with you.
It was so nice talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And I can't wait to see what you do next.
Okay, thanks again.
Thank
Bye.
you, Martin.